Welcome to Red and Blue. I'm Nick.
Hi, Mum.
Um, we're gonna try and keep you entertained during this lockdown with a little Premier League striker tier list of all time.
That's it. Should we just get straight into it then? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Who we
First,
who we gonna put in the goat tier? Then I guess is the
let's
first question.
let's start with Wayne Rooney.
You think? I'd agree with
He's
that. I'd
one
agree
of the
with
best
that.
players I've seen play live. I know you're a City fan,
At this
but
point, we may as well say who's the red and who's the blue.
I know you're a City fan and you might not agree, but yeah, he's one of the best players I've seen play live. So
I'd agree. I mean, there's a few times he broke my heart overhead kick goal. We were not going to talk about that this early in the channel days.
I think that was a goal of the day the other day for United.
Was it? Anyway, moving on. The next player is. I don't want to.
Go on, get your City man in. Get your City man
The
in.
next, well, it's got to be on it really. Serge, my one true love. I mean, I've never seen a player quite like him at City. Like, I have a genuine love for him. Um, it goes so deep. Like I just love him. Like he's amazing. Record goal scorer, obviously for the club. He's breaking all records every other season now. It'd be a shame if this season got cancelled because he's actually overtook a few people up there in the all-time scorers list. But
He has, hasn't he, actually?
I mean, there's one record he's never going to meet, which possibly we're going to get onto next, which is Shearer. But to be honest, I think Shearer played in a different time. I think for what he's done in the current game, Aguero's world class. To be honest,
I can accept that. I can accept that.
so the next one we'll do is Shearer.
Right.
I think we have varied opinions on this.
I think because he scored so many goals, whether you say it's easier to score or whatever, he has to go in A at least.
Yeah, I mean,
You could argue GOAT, but I would say A.
And my reasoning behind that is obviously he scored a lot of goals, and he did score a lot of goals, and he was a phenomenal player of his time, to watch. But, and I always say this when I watch some of the teams back, the quality of football back then for me wasn't as sort of good. It wasn't A1 sort of. You didn't like, you could have an off game and it was like, oh well, do you know what I mean? We'll still
You
win
still
the league.
scored.
Yeah,
you still scored that trick.
Or you could still score that trick. Do you know what I mean? Because I just feel like the quality of football back then wasn't as good. And it's an unpopular opinion. I know almost everyone, 99% of people will put him there, but I just feel like that's the best place, to be honest. I feel like that's
Yeah.
him.
I probably agree.
Yeah. Next
We move on, are you going to do Andy Cole now?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's A. He's got a good goal scoring record. I'd definitely say B.
Yeah.
He dwindled towards the end of his career. He was always better in Europe for United, in my opinion.
I have no opinion on this guy. I don't think he spent long enough with us.
I forget about that, didn't I? Little stint. Everyone does it. Him, Schmeichel. Traitors, mate. Traitors.
Oh, yeah.
Got the same birthday as Peter Schmeichel,
Have you really?
Name drop there.
Not as good as, but we're agreed on B though, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be pretty boring if we agree on everything, but
let's go to a more controversial one then. Let's find a controversial one. Drogba.
Right.
I've got Drogba in a C. And the reason for that is he's not consistent. Well, sorry, he wasn't. He's not playing anymore, but not in the Premier League anyway. I don't know where he is playing now, if he is playing. But he just wasn't consistent for me. Like, he had seasons where he blew everyone away, and he was like unreal. But then he also had seasons where he was like, I don't know. He just sort of faded into the background a little bit, and it was like, I think like I mentioned before, there was one season where he scored 13 goals, and it was like, well, where was Drogba? I mean, if Aguero had a season like that now, it would be like, oh, Aguero's, this, that, and the other. But
I do think he did have big game factor. I can understand why you're putting him in C. He did have big game factor. I mean, you look what he did to Arsenal. He terrorised Arsenal for a good 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. I used to hate him, Drogba, to be honest. He scored a goal against us offside in 2010. Could have won the league that season 4 times in a row. But
the heartbreak.
It was a heartbreak. Honestly, it was like, if VAR was in, it'd have been off.
If VAR was in, they'd have automatically awarded a penalty to Liverpool.
No bias on this channel. Let's go on to a Liverpool player.
That's it. I think we're looking at this one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go for Luis Suarez now.
I put him in the GOAT tier. I know he didn't spend that much time, not as much as these two guys anyway, sort of around in the Prem. But for me, he did enough to justify that top level.
I hate it. I hate him.
Given his I'd just be honest, I didn't have that much of a hatred of Liverpool at the time. I'll be honest, because we weren't sort of competing on a level with each other, whereas we are now. But he was unreal.
It's embedded into
unreal.
me.
He still is, to be honest. But
it's embedded into me. the hatred for Liverpool from a young age.
I think out of these three, he's possibly the worst one. But
yeah, I think it's probably just because he didn't spend enough time there.
Yeah, I mean, if he did, he might have broken records himself. But
you don't
obviously,
know.
Barca came knocking, and no one ever turns that down, did he?
No. Right. I'm going to go for Jamie Vardy next. I do like Jamie Vardy. I wouldn't put him in A. I'd put him in B, 100%.
You see, I think I'd put him in A. I think. Just I don't know, just because of that season. Obviously, he broke the consistent sort of goal. What was it? The goal scoring records, back-to-back.
Consecutive or something.
Consecutive. That's the word I'm looking for.
Someone's had a Guinness.
He broke obviously that record. And just the style he did it in and how important it was to Leicester in that sort of crazy season that no one ever saw coming. And when it was happening, like me, they were still going, they'll lose soon. They'll drop off in a minute. Soon, they'll drop off. They'll lose next week, and then that'll be it. And they just never did. And I feel like he was sort of centre to all of that. And even now, he's still a great player.
He does still score for fun, doesn't
he? He really... I mean, he does have quiet periods, I guess, now. He does sort of fade away a bit, but... Given how he played in that one season, for me alone was just enough. I mean, even the Champions League he played all right the year after. I mean, that second season was a bit weird anyway, wasn't it? With all the Ranieri stuff going on, but
I could give you A on that one.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move that one. Next.
To be honest, for me, he's a C. If he'd stayed at United, I think I could have seen him as a B. He was one of my favourite players when he was at United.
I'm not even going to say anything else on this guy. I'm just going to agree. After his golfing holiday that he so much enjoyed and came back to win the league, even though he was really, really, really bad in that last game against QPR, like that's the worst game I've ever seen from him.
I don't want to talk about that game, to be honest.
Given the hey, there was a replay on the other day. I won't mention the channel, but there was a replay on. You should have watched it.
No, I'm all right.
Yeah. Other than that, that's the worst game I've ever seen him play for us. But I remember when we signed him being a bit like... I mean, I did like him, but it was one of them where, at that point, I was a Bertie.
He worked hard, didn't he?
And and it was like, I watched him at United and thought, he's a good player. And I was like, yeah, but I shouldn't like him. I was like, I really shouldn't like him, though.
When he played, he just lacked that yard of pace. I remember I was at a game once and someone was saying, "Oh, he's like the best thing ever," and I was just like, "No, he just lacks that yard of pace." And we had a full-on argument, and you know what drunk guys are like.
The next one, I don't feel like he can sort of be ignored. It's got to be big man.
He's got to be A, sure. A to go, really.
I agree with that. I mean, if these guys, well, except for Suarez, which I've already mentioned, have all got the same sort of goal-scoring records, he's got to be up there. And just his sort of suave and class, I think, it's just unreal.
He was a good player. I would have loved to have him at United. I think we'll touch on a smaller team. Let's go for Kevin Phillips.
Should we go for Kevin Phillips?
I liked Kevin Phillips.
Yeah.
But I did feel he could be a C, but I did feel he was better in the Championship.
Yeah, I feel like he's sort of like this a little bit, like the clubs he used to play for. He sort of comes up and goes back down again. I mean, I feel like if he was in a better team, he might have been a different player, but he never took that step. I mean, what was the best team he played for?
To be honest, I think he went from Sunderland to Southampton, and that was the only move he really made, and then it was Championship, I think, from there.
Not like that, yeah. I mean,
he definitely played for West Brom, Birmingham, and Blackpool. I know that.
Well, was it a case of he never had a chance at the higher tier, or was it a case of he was never good enough for another tier next jump?
That's what I mean. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go to Mark Hughes. This is a player that we won't have really seen play. I've seen videos of him.
Yeah. He was the draw king for me, for the manager of our club. He was very good at drawing games.
I think the thing is he didn't play long enough in the Premier League. I know we've got Suarez in there. He wasn't consistent enough in the Premier League. I think if you actually look at his Premier League seasons, I don't think he was top scorer. I might be wrong on that. I'm not a Man United expert. I support the club. I love the club, but I'm not an expert on that. It was before my time. I can't comment. My dad liked Mark Hughes, so I'd probably say C.
I'm not sure if I'd agree, but like I say, I didn't really get a chance to watch him, if I'm being honest. He was a little bit before our time. We're only fresh blood, really. Should we pick the Karate King next? Another United player?
What a legend.
Mr.
I mean,
Karate
again, it's another one I didn't see play.
Yeah.
Just videos. My dad offered to take me to the testimonial, but my mum said I was too young, so didn't want to get kung fu kicked. There's only 4. I'd definitely put him in B. I think just for the impact.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, just his class from what I've seen. You know, he was just like he was arrogant, but he backed it up, and I think there's something about that. I mean, like Balotelli, you know, used to play for us. He was arrogant, but he was a good player, and it was like I like people that have that swagger.
Did you just compare Eric Cantona to?
I didn't compare him. Did he like fireworks too? And did he do bonfire?
No, he just kicked fans. Let's go. Should we go Bergkamp next?
Dennis Bergkamp.
Now Arsenal fans rave about him.
He scored a really good goal. I mean, there's one goal that stands out in my head that when I get this Newcastle.
Yeah,
and when I watch it, I just think like you've got to have something about you to do that. I mean,
he uses class. Yeah. I'd definitely say B again. It's one of them. He didn't score enough, but again, I think he was more of an assister. I noticed that the greatest striker of all time, Emil Heskey, is not on this list, which I think is an absolute travesty. No, obviously, I kid there.
Next, we'll go to the man who's got pictures of Pep Guardiola on his bedroom wall.
The man that schooled him 3 times this season.
That's it. Again, that's something for another day. I think Premier League-wise, I don't know. I'm not sure he'd be up here.
I'd say he's definitely in the B range. Again, that could be me being biased towards United.
I'd put him more in a C, if I would be honest. I mean, I think he's a C pushing a B, just because of his Champions League sort of history. I try not to mention anything too particular.
We got to keep it just about the Premier League, haven't we?
This is it, yeah. But go on then. I'd somewhat agree with that, I guess.
Let's do the last player that I don't think we really would have seen play, which is Ian Wright, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Did we see Ferdinand play? Les Ferdinand? Maybe just a bit.
Maybe see in a bit, yeah.
Ian Wright. I like him on Match of the Day.
I like him, and his son Shawnee obviously played for our club. Like, what a guy! Like, I love him. Like, even when he played for QPR and when we won the league, he was celebrating with us. I remember when we re-signed him, and I was absolutely buzzing, and he scored a brace against Sunderland away, and I was like, Shawnee's back. We're gonna win everything. And but I didn't really get to see much of his dad play, to be honest, if anything of his dad play. I mean, he was a good player.
I'd say B.
Was he part of the Invincibles team?
No, he was before that. I think he retired in '98, mate.
Right, okay. Bloody hell, really?
I think he was more of a Division 1 player, and then Premier League came in like '93, didn't it? So '92, '93.
All right.
You're going rude.
And this is again from my alliance to my club, which I love very dearly. I hate this guy. I don't like him. I feel like he just sort of sniffed. He was a poacher. He was in the right place at the right time. He was a poacher. But
he was good at it.
My God, he was annoying because he was always there. It was like, he's there at the back post, and it's like.
I remember this goal he scored against Fulham from like the halfway line, and I was just getting into football properly then, and it was like, what a greedy guy! Like, what a greedy He just took it all away. Yeah. Then when he scored, I was just like, oh, what a goal! But I always used to, whenever he scored, we used to say rude, and like it'd be going rude, and me, being the smartest guy in the room, used to be going boo, thinking they were booing. Again, a good job I didn't get caught, but I'd probably say B. I mean, I saw him score a few goals.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hated him, I possibly somewhat agree. I mean, you know, he was annoying if you were playing against him. He was one of them, which leads me on to the next player in Diego. Horrible to play against. Horrible to play against. Like,
so effective though. But I mean, he only had 3 seasons in the Premier League, didn't he? To be fair.
Yeah, but I mean,
Two of them were amazing, and one was bad. But there was Mourinho's third season syndrome, wasn't there?
And again, because he hadn't played in the Prem that long, I'd be tempted to put him in this C range.
But if he played another 2 years, he'd definitely be B2A. Surely.
Yeah, easily, no problem. Like that would be him.
No matter how annoying he is, he'd be B2A. I think someone that is going in the A that we should just get out of the way now is Robin van Persie. Now you might disagree. I've got fond memories of Robin van Persie.
Yeah, I know.
When he chose United over City.
Well, I don't know how true that story is. But we had big man Serge at the time. We don't need no stupid Dutch striker.
I mean, he was the difference that season.
He was. Also, Nasri's leg popping out was the difference in that free kick. But and yet again, we're going into detail.
But I think to put him in A is right. I think he was doing well at Arsenal. He was terrible with injuries.
Yeah.
So to score that many goals with Arsenal as well in those 3 seasons in a row or something, I think he was like 25 plus or around that mark.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It is good, isn't it? Yeah.
I think
should we go his presence? I think as well as to touch on that in the Prem is like.
It's impact, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's one of them names. Like all the people up here, you know the name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whereas if you went to another country and said any of these names, people would be
You'd
like,
probably
yeah.
get away with it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you went and said,
Kevin Phillips,
people might be a bit like, who? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not nothing against the guy, but people might know who he is. But yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on because I'm offending footballers.
Kevin Phillips, definitely.
Lukaku, Big Rom.
I'd put him.
You love this guy.
I'd put him C.
I think
to be
he should
honest,
go up here somewhere.
I don't. Funnily enough, he didn't do enough for me.
He got a good assist in that year we won the league. I tell you that.
He tried. It just didn't work.
Listen, I know.
It just didn't work.
Know what? I don't even feel like the move came at the wrong time. I just feel like he went to the wrong club.
I think he probably should have gone back to Chelsea, to be honest.
Desperate. Yeah. Again, I'd agree. Yeah, but
I think, I think the reason we signed him was we tried for Harry Kane, I reckon, but we got told no, and then we went for Ron because he was the second top goal scorer. So,
well, should we move on
to
him next?
Let's go for him next. Okay. I'd be tempted B to A. I mean, we all have fond memories of that Tunisia game.
Yeah, but we all have fond memories of the Croatia game where he could have squared it.
Oh yeah, not so fond memories of the. Shall we say?
I mean, in a whole, that competition can only be remembered for the right reasons.
It
gave us a great summer. Better summer.
I'd be tempted for A.
Anyway.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be tempted for A.
I'd pop it in A. Yeah, I think A is a good show. Right, we're on sort of the last run-ins here. I mean, do you want to talk about my man?
My man, Teddy.
Do you want to talk about him?
Oh, Teddy. You know something? My dad never liked Teddy Sheringham.
Oh, really?
He hated the fact that he scored the goal. But I suppose he didn't at the time. He was there at the ground. He didn't at the time. He was probably loving it. I'd be tempted C or B. I think he was quality.
Yeah.
From what I've seen in videos. Again, his best years were behind him when we probably properly started watching football.
Yeah.
But he was good
like
player.
I feel like a C would be about right. I mean, like you say, we were pretty early to football. I was anyway when
I was about
playing.
2002 I started going. 2001, 2002.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you were a bit earlier than me actually, because given the age thing.
Robbie Keane.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one who's always been there. Do you know what I mean? He's always there, and he's a little bit like this guy, but
he did terrible at Liverpool, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's what makes you. I mean, like his Spurs reign. He went to Spurs quite late in his career, didn't he? And
I think it was about 2003 actually. I think I remember playing FIFA 2003, and he was at Spurs.
did he go even come back though?
Yeah, he went left and come back.
I think when he came back, he was still a relatively good player. I mean, that kit looks like the kit that took Champions League away from us, to be honest.
I'd say B then, to be honest.
I feel like B because I mean,
where's Where's Peter Crouch in all this? Oh, I'm sorry,
know
Peter,
what?
if you end up watching this.
It's like the Emil Heskey situation. Isn't it? It's just not fair. Like,
I suppose we can't make a 3-hour video on all the strikers in the Premier League. As much fun as that would be for us.
3-hour Heskey tribute coming soon.
Heskey tribute coming soon. Dion Dublin.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's one of them where we didn't really see him in his prime.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, when I first opened this list, I thought, is that Delph? And I was like, no, it's Dion Dublin, innit? And I mean, like I say, I recognise him just from being a pundit more than anything. I believe he was a pretty good player.
I'd be tempted for C, just from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he played for any... Did he play for any massive clubs, Dion?
He actually spent 2 seasons at United, but he got injured pretty early on, and then we had to sell him on because I just don't think he was the same player after his injury. But again, he was at a mid-level club and he tried his best. He's one of them. Let's go for the classiest man down there, Dimitar Berbatov. This guy could control anything, honestly. You know, he's got one of the best first touches ever.
Yeah, I mean, go on, carry on.
I'd solidly agree with a B, maybe a B plus to an A, but I would accept a B.
I'd go the other way of a C plus to a B minus. He spent a lot of years obviously at Tottenham. He went to United. He was pretty good for you guys. He was pretty influential, I think, wasn't he, in that league win that year?
Yeah, he was.
That kit looks very familiar for all the wrong reasons for me.
That one should be the right reasons. That's the one where you unfortunately won the league in the last minute against QPR. But again, enough about that. It was the season before, I think you're thinking of.
To be honest, I should have known that kit because I used to watch so many United games. It was like,
closet red, guys. Closet red.
Please lose.
Closet red.
And I don't know why I do it. I still do it now. I'm like, they'll lose this time. It doesn't happen.
Who are we going for?
Should we do Anelka?
Nicholas Anelka. All right.
Anelka.
Well, you talk about this guy because he was at your club for a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you were watching him.
I was a little bit, and he was sort of one of the first players I ever had on a City top. I sort of remember sort of repping myself to the corner shop to get me 10p mix up with me first advice City top on, with Anelka on the back, number 39 I think he was. And I was like, yeah, this is class. You know, I'd just really, really got into football, and you know, it was nice to watch him play. He was a good player, had a bit of flair about him, like I say. He'd come from a bigger club, so it was like, wow, he must really think something of us. But to be honest, he never stuck around for us. I mean, I know he went to Chelsea, he did a few bits at Chelsea, and he's done a few bits elsewhere since, but I don't think he's anything more than a Class C.
Bolton for a few years.
That's the thing. He sort of had a stature, and he got there, and then he dropped, and then he came back, and then he dropped again, and it was like...
I have fond memories of him in that kit from Moscow.
Again, but that's Champions League, isn't it? So.
Exactly. But fond memories for the wrong reasons for him personally, because he missed the penalty that won us the Champions League. So, but yeah, can agree.
I've noticed we've avoided most Liverpool players yet, except for Suarez. So we'll jump straight on to your favourite Liverpool player, I guess.
Michael Owen. I didn't hate Michael Owen. I don't think he ever should have come to United, but I suppose he justifies it because he won a title, although he didn't really contribute.
Yeah.
No, because it was the season after where he just didn't really play. So, I mean, he was phenomenal when he first came on the scene. Yeah. Let's not forget that. I mean, again, it was probably just before we'd started watching football, I think. Probably just out of nappies, mate, to be honest.
Well, he was one of them players I remember watching him at, was it Euro 2008? Was it?
Nah, we weren't there, mate. Euro 2004, probably.
2004, that was it, yeah. And he played Portugal, I remember him, and it was like... He was. I think he was sort of like in the midpoint of his career at that moment in time, and he was just a really good player. Like, he was literally a low center of gravity, and he was, you know, like, he was a threat, like, with his pace.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say A, and I'm gonna regret it, just for his youth. But I could be tempted for a B.
Yeah,
to be
I think maybe an A there.
Let's go for Robbie Fowler again, a player you've got a bit of experience with. Did you like Robbie Fowler when he came to City?
No, he was a bit again. He probably
came a bit
picking
old.
up his retirement fund. You know what I mean? Like...
Again, he's another one that burst onto the scene and was phenomenal for the first 4 or 5 years of his career.
Yeah.
I don't know I suppose if we're doing that, he's got to be a B, hasn't he? B or a C? I think a B. To be honest with you. He's probably a B- to a C. I've got to try and be unbiased there, as much as I hate Liverpool.
Well, talking about being unbiased, let's move on to this guy.
I mean,
I remember him for his celebration against Arsenal more than anything, because that was the most iconic moment I think I've ever seen, other than Aguero's goal against QPR, like in the Prem. That was mad. Like,
I don't remember that goal, to be honest. I don't remember
do
it.
you not remember it now? You're too busy drowning in your own tears, I think.
Blocked it from my memory.
Um,
Adebayo, I'd definitely say.
I put him in an A. I just feel like
I,
he's a bit like Van Persie in that he was around for a long time. He was a top solid goal scorer. He
all
was a
right,
threat in the box, threat in the air.
I can give you that.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Let's
his
start.
position.
Let's go for Les Ferdinand. Again, a player we've probably not seen in his prime, and
Yeah.
we're probably doing him a disservice. And as I said about Peter Crouch, Les, if you do ever end up watching this, just I'm sorry.
Sorry,
We
mate.
didn't make the tier maker.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. These guys are the guys you need to blame.
Zola?
Zola. Should we do Zola? He brought
He was
the
a
first
classic
bit of
guy.
flair, didn't he, to the Prem?
He was a classic guy. It's hard again because I didn't watch Chelsea.
Again, I feel like he's gonna have to go here again because
Yeah,
it's a little bit
and
like.
could be doing him a disservice. Defoe is someone that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Now, he's got a good scoring record for what he is, if we're honest. I mean, he obviously peaked a bit towards the end of his career, but when you actually look at him, I remember him, my second game at United, he scored the winner for West Ham. We lost 1-0. Enough of that. I'd definitely say a B, at least.
Put him in a B.
Yeah. Probably not played for a top club, but he did well for.
But he did well for Spurs in that Champions League run they had as well.
Yeah. I mean, but again, we're talking Premier League, aren't we? We can't.
This is it, yeah. But I mean, he had to achieve in the Premier League to get the Champions League football, I guess. So anyway,
let's go for Jimmy. I don't know what to say about Jimmy again. I think I'm doing him a disservice.
Yeah,
but a B.
save again. I'd pop him in a B because I'm not sure. I mean, should we do? Might we do?
Maduka's got to be a B, which is harsh.
B again. Yeah.
But he kept Leeds up that one season, to be fair.
That's it, single-handedly. So.
I'll move on to my favourite player ever.
Fernando Torres.
No, I don't like Dwight York either. Dwight York, he scored a lot of goals for us. I never really clicked with Dwight York.
Yeah.
He did peak as well after the treble season, and then he scored 20 the following season. But then after that, he was a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't get the chances, and he probably was injury prone and stuff. But
yeah.
I'd say C or B, but I'd lean towards C.
I didn't really.
Personal feelings are probably.
I didn't really watch that much of him, to be honest.
Clouding my judgment there. It's nothing against him as a person. It's just one of them.
Yeah.
So let's go Fernando Torres last. I'm sure Liverpool fans will be happy about that.
I feel like he should be in an A.
Ooh, four good seasons in the Premier League, or 5, or whatever it was?
I remember watching him in that year when they were sort of second to you guys, as always.
Yeah.
They like being second. Anyway, no bias. And I remember watching.
Just not this season.
And just be again. That's for another video. I remember watching him play and just being like, "Geez, this guy is phenomenal. I'd love to have him at City." Do you know what I mean? Like, he's one of them players where I used to watch him and think, "I would love to have him in our club, like in our team." I mean, I guess at the time we didn't have that much strike power. You know, we had Emil Penza and Darius Vassell and Philippe Caicedo, and in their own right they were brilliant. I mean, I used to love Caicedo. Like, he was class, but he was class for us then. If you compared him with this guy now, I mean, it'd be a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, nope. But yeah,
I mean, he did fall off a cliff at Chelsea.
It was that Torres, yeah, and I feel like that move was forced rather than him wanting it.
Well, apparently he really wanted out of Liverpool, but I just don't think he wanted to go to Chelsea. I think he probably wanted to go back to Spain. I think
it was a bit of a panic move, that, to be honest, from the club's perspective.
Well,
because obviously
Jamie Carragher did an interview for an unnamed channel that we can't name for legal reasons. And he said that they knew he was not as good. And that's why, as soon as the offer came in for 50 million, they were like, "You've got to take it because he's not as good anymore."
Yeah, but not as good as who? The person who they brought in.
Yeah, it was like Fernando. It was like Prince, formerly known as Prince. He was formerly known as Fernando Torres.
Didn't he go when Carroll came in?
Carroll was his replacement, mate.
He was, yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Where's Andy Carroll on this list?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Torres is on there. Why is Carroll not? I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that about anything. Thank you for watching this video. Our first video, hopefully first of many. We're really new to this, so if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be amazing. Also remember to give us a follow on Twitter. We have a link for that in the description below. If you have any topics you want us to discuss or cover, get in touch and let us know in the comment section. Nothing is too far, nothing is too outrageous, don't worry. Until next time, adios.